This is Angela Tran, the founder of Ever Evolving Skills, and I'm back with an update. I took a little bit of a break. If this is your first time listening in or dialing in, this is where I share my journey of finding my own business and how I had quit my corporate career for um, 18 years. So typically what I do is share with you what I've done in the past couple weeks. I do use a agile project management methodology. It's been quite successful for me as I guess a corporate employee, and I'm using the same method and using it to start my own business. So this is my second project. My first project was about getting started and getting to my grand opening and launching my first product. And then now I'm working on the second phase in my second project. So what I call this is Sprint Zero. I'm starting all over, though this is my episode 5. This is how I'm going to share my progress. So in these sprints, if you're familiar with Agile, I start off with currently where I am. I'll demo my accomplishments and next steps. And typically in Sprint Zero, it's really a planning sprint for most projects. It's usually we use it to start kind of the next phase. So you'll see today how I'm preparing for that. So I have designed my release sprint schedule for this project. So I'm going to make it 6 sprints, so 3 months. I like to do it in kind of this defined 3 month period and then taking a break simply because then I can release and then I can get feedback, I can adjust and really just hone in and focus on one core goal and one core goal and some objectives. So you'll see here this will take me to pretty much November in sprint 6, and it will be still I'm going to keep with a 2-week cadence, and I'm going to probably keep with the Tuesday demo and then Wednesday release. So with that, so what did I do in my planning phase? I worked on a project charter. I still think at first, to be honest, when I first did my project getting started, I didn't create a charter. But as I went on, I realized I think creating one helps me define my focus space. Because a lot of times what happens, especially in a new area, is that we're bombarded with a lot of information. And with that information, it can get overwhelming and distract myself from my core goal. So with the charter, it keeps me focused on what I'm trying to accomplish, and then I can stay focused as well. So that's what I have. And in the meantime, even though I took a bit of a really just a brief break to really recalibrate myself, I was still refining my own coaching product by actually coaching clients. So I'll share a little bit more about that as well. So just to demo kind of my high level project roadmap, like I said, my first project was to just get started and launch the first product by July 31st. So I had my grand opening last month. I'm still offering $600 off for my coaching product if you're interested. And then now I'm working on my second project. So what I realized is that after the first one, again, just with the amount of information there is either on the internet or either just talking to people, I do feel I got a bit distracted, meaning that I kind of forgot my purpose. Not only that, but also mentally, the transition was quite difficult or more anxious than I thought it was, coming from a stable income and stable career with a very, very repetitive pattern for 18 years, suddenly going into, oh, here's the free fall, here's the world, you can do anything you want. It actually gave me a lot of anxiety. And in fact, I did a lot more self discovery than I had planned or even expected, but that's okay. I really wanted to dig into how I felt instead of running or suppressing it, as I've done over the years of my corporate experience. So, in this second one, I really want to align, in the second project, I really want to align and simplify my company purpose. I want to make sure that I understood why I took this journey and really realign with it. And also make sure my products that I'm releasing is aligned to that goal. Because what I find as I get information, there's a lot of information, at least what I'm subscribing to. It's about, oh, making six-figure income, making seven-figure income. It was very money driven. And I didn't, though it might, most people say they start entrepreneurial journeys to make more money or stuff like that. My real reason was to really solve a problem or and really focus on what drove me. Because if I wanted to keep making money, and I really think money was my ultimate goal, I think I should have stayed in corporate, because my career trajectory was quite positive, in terms, either in terms of the latter and in terms of monetary. But the reason I really started this was to solve a problem that I've been thinking about since I was a child. So you see here, today's my next update, which I'm doing now. And then after this, I'll reassess and see what my third project will be. So with the next slide, so I wanted to share what my this second project objectives are, given that's the goal. One is to clarify, like I said, number one is to reconnect with my why and purpose. Second one is also to market. Marketing is still a challenge for me, mainly because I haven't, I would say, studied it as much or practiced it as much. And even then, actually, last Friday, I went out to meet people in person, through a friend, a network, who encouraged me to come out to the local kind of entrepreneur or innovation center and meet people. I was glad I did, but it really helped me understand that how the things, maybe how I was introducing myself, how I was introducing my business and product, how unclear it can be for someone to understand. So it was eye opening for me. And I think I'm going to work on tailoring kind of my message to be simpler and clearer. And that's probably why I call this project Simplify, right? I want to realign and simplify an offering. But right now, my first product is still here. Like I said, still my goal is to get 6 clients. And then we still have the grand opening discount of $600 off. And then in the meantime, I do want to develop a second product. My ultimate goal isn't just build is to build a coaching business. My ultimate goal is to really share knowledge, especially around meta skills, to everyone, who can, and because I think really those are the next evolution of skills. So I'll be working on my second product launch as well. So I also wanted to share just how I'm refining my coaching product. Like I said, I'm coaching a couple of clients. I'm really developing. I had the high level month, a 3 month kind of plan, but what I'm doing, also making a kind of a weekly goal as a coach. What am I really looking for? And also developing an after session summary, which has been really positive feedback, actually, where I summarize what we've talked about, really highlighting what we worked on, and then highlighting what we need to continue to work on in the upcoming weeks. So, do you think that that is, exciting? Just as long, and plus it makes it a bit more repeatable. I do hope to be able to share these framework with coaches in the future, and perhaps work together like that. And then, so the last one, I do need to clarify my target audience, defining a niche. I've read about it. It just wasn't my focus in the first project. I was just really trying to get my processes and business set up. And then now I will really work on kind of honing and simplifying, clarifying who is my initial target audience. So I'm continuing to do that kind of in the background. So, in light and spirit of that, I'm trying to reconnect with my purpose. This is written on my site, and I actually did a video on it explaining it when I was talking about why I took this journey. But I want to share it again, just so maybe as a reminder to myself why I'm taking, what the purpose of really starting my own business and going down this path. So, this is a problem it took probably my full, I would say, even since school age, I've been thinking about, but maybe not in such eloquent terms. So I do think that we live in a very industrialized corporate world, right? If we think back to the Industrial Revolution, the world has been progressing really rapidly from them, right? They basically systemized a lot of things, manufacturing and making really core processes to make it scalable, including humans, right? So from then on, I think it really drove our rigid educational system. And even as funny as it sounds, even though I was successful in the education system, I did think it was too rigid and it wasn't fair for everyone, because it created a format like, like tardy bells and things, like, which I still dream about. In fact, it still brings me anxiety to be late for class, right? But that really is set up for like a factory system, right? We want to be on time. We're clocking in and clocking out. But in reality, very, maybe some careers far and few between. And even if it's that redundant now with that kind of structure, a lot of machinery can handle that. So I always felt that our educational system really fit for a certain type of people and not necessarily for everyone. And it became unfair. Again, even though I was successful in it, I did feel that something was not right. So in turns, I think it dehumanized their skills. A lot of times, I think that people are unhappy with their jobs, and especially when I talk to friends, especially in the medical field, because it's such a prescriptive, protocol-driven system that there's a lack of creativity. That and humans are meant to create. We're inherently kind of enable born that way. But when we go to the educational system, it makes us very rigid. We're there to be, oh, I'm trained to be an engineer, I'm trained to be an accountant, I'm trained to be a mechanic, these very defined careers. When in reality, if you ask yourself, we're much more multifaceted than that, right? Even though I was doing data analytics, I probably project manage. And even then, I probably mentored and I coach. But we like to define ourselves, probably for simplicity's sake, in these very refined roles, and that kind of defines us. But I don't think humans as ourselves, we're not really bots, right? So in the meantime, we've been, advancing bots really rapidly. So it's making them, sometimes I think they're more human than we are in our profession, right? We can probably ask ChatGPT, we can ask Gemini to write for us. Can they interpret resumes? They can read faster than us now, and provide a summary. I mean, that pace just went so quick. While at the same time, I think humans, we're still kind of stuck in a way that, only in a specific role, right? If I was only doing this widget, if I was only doing this spreadsheet for, I don't know, a decade or two, though we get bored, it's comfort. We keep doing it in the same way. And I dealt with that in a lot in my corporate world, in my corporate life of helping others kind of transform. But a lot of people didn't want to. So what happens if you combine all these things? I think it leads to a very defeating human experience, right? We think that a lot of times people are probably feel a bit trapped. They feel disconnected, right? Just like myself, feel anxious, right? Going to work, imposter syndrome. I think a lot of it is just that we haven't been taught to feel ourselves, to be ourselves, become kind of aligned. And this is the reason I've been taking this journey, because in my last role, I taken a career pivot and really just found my voice and find myself, so much so that I want to continue going down that path. So that's the problem that, um, my business is trying to solve for. And I know it's a really, really long term thing, because one of those things might include maybe education reform, all that, but that's down the line. So, really, what I'm looking to do is focus on skills that help us feel human again. I want to be able to contribute to a future where individuals and organization can reach their full potential and just contribute to a better world. Right. My vision is to become a catalyst for unlocking human potential through skills development. I am focused on a specific set of skills that I'm trying to break down called meta skills, which are skills that enable us to learn and adapt faster. And I really want to close that gap between traditional education and the evolving demands of the modern world. I think though they try really hard, their gap still exists, right? We still come out sometimes maybe too narrow instead of a bit more broad. And I really think with technology where it is today, it requires us to be a bit more broad than narrow, so because that system has adapted and evolved. So that's what I'm focused on and the business focused on. So I just want to share a little bit of that, and just to again reconnect as to why I'm doing this. So you'll see this kind of same format I usually end with next steps. So I'll go back to creating my LinkedIn newsletter. So tomorrow I'll release one talking about all these things in probably more detail when as I write it out. And then in my sprint one for my next plan, I will work on a coaching marketing plan, just really learning how to convey my message in a clearer manner so that it appeals to the audience, so it makes it easier to understand. Business cards is another thing I learned that is still quite used today. So I will develop that and create those. So at least for my in-person meetings, I have something to hand out. And I also learned that there is something called digital business cards, which I had not known before. So I think that's something simple I can accomplish. And then also start off with my mini course lesson plan. So my second product, I do think I'm going to go with mini course, which is something that is small and digestible, teaching probably a tool or a framework I've used quite successfully across different companies in my career. And I'm going to happy to share that in a mini course format. So, back to my sprint. This is the timeline for our next sprint. It will be so my next final day will be 2 weeks from now, so September 3rd, and then I'll do a release on September 4th, a newsletter or whatever I do, or some kind of digital product information, and then that will then really my process is starting over again. I think the goal of what I've heard and from other entrepreneurs is that you just keep trying, you keep going, right? My goal, especially with Agile, is to fail fast. And I've definitely learned a lot failing fast. And then not giving up, right? Not being affected to it and is just learning from that experience is my goal as well. So thank you for listening in if you are. And I promise to set these up a little better because I think I set this up a little bit late. Um, just yesterday, I'll get back on creating these on a regular cadence. So thank you for those who've been joining the journey. I hope this you find this useful and happy to hear other entrepreneurs or other comments you have or feedback. You may feel free to leave a comment.